In this video, we're going to show you how you can save an incomplete cutting job using Lightburn. Hi, my name is Gil, and in this series of Lightburn hints, we're going to look at how you can set up your project so that you can save your work and material if your laser has not completed the process in a way that you're happy with. This could mean that the engrave is too light, or a line cut might not have gone all the way through. Regardless if you are using a diode or CO2 laser, being able to save your work is going to make things easier on your wallet and time. With these new hints, we're going to be jumping straight into Lightburn, so let me quickly invite you to hit that subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss out on any upcoming hints and tutorials based around Lightburn. And I want to invite you to come along to the laser live streams that we host on this channel, where you can show off your successful projects and meet other fellow laserologists who are exploring what they can do with their lasers. The link to the group is in the description below, and I look forward to seeing what you create with your laser. Okay, let's jump into Lightburn so I can show you how to save an unsuccessful project and turn it around into a piece that you're more than happy with. So for this tutorial, I'm going to show you a work in progress. This is my laser live stream dates for 2022. So I thought I'd make a little bit of a calendar and make it a little bit interesting. You can see here there's lots and lots of different elements, and I was asked by a number of people via email and through the YouTube page, how do I save a project that might have an issue? Maybe I've got some of the settings wrong, maybe I need to burn through some material and the material isn't perfectly manufactured, therefore there's a knot or a piece of glue or even some filler that the laser can't pass through evenly. What's the best way to do that? And I'm going to show you two techniques. One of them is built into Lightburn and happens to be part of its functionality. The other one comes into how you actually design your project. In this case, I'm actually going to show you the design feature first, and for that I've actually got this calendar that's here. I'm going to just give you a quick preview, and you can see here I've got a number of elements. I have some cut elements, I have some images, I have some filled text, and I have the circles that highlight which dates the laser live streams will be during 2022. I've got all of that. I set that up beforehand. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a tutorial where I actually design this live and show you my thought process on how I actually go through and design my projects. If that's something that's really interesting, please let me know and I will make those available. We're going to move forward here. We're just going to make this a little bit bigger. So in the cut layers area here, I have actually gone and worked out which laser function is on which layer. So you can see here, here's my image. My image is on the blue. I've got the circles for the dates. They're actually in red. I have what I call the title and dates, and these are fills. They are on a separate line, and I also have my actual cut line to cut the piece out. The reason I do that is that it allows me to be able to copy different layers into other projects if I want to change this design. The other reason that I do this is that it gives me a lot of control when I'm sending this project to the laser. And in fact, this is where I finish the design work, but I'm actually going to start splitting these up into different layers so that I actually have even more control over what it is that the final product is going to look like. I'm just going to go back into the preview really quickly. And you can see I have a fill box around here. I have my lettering that if I go into, you can see it's all nicely defined. And I have these little circles over here. Now the circles are pretty cool. See that one, that's interesting. 24 needs to move up a little bit. Sometimes you want to just catch that sort of stuff. So let me go in and just fix that up really quickly. Let's go select that. I'm going to select the second one. Ooh, and I'm going to actually split that off because I was using the fill. Let's see if I can get these individuals. Yes, and then I'm just going to move that up just a little bit, have that centered. There you go. Most of the other ones look great, so I'm just going to leave it there. So my thoughts here are that depending on what the material is that I'm going to engrave the design on, I may want to use maybe a light line process to do the outline, or I might want to do it as a fill. At this point, I'm going to leave it as a fill, but what I actually like to do is I like to actually go and place certain elements on different layers. So in this case, I'm just going to turn this into a fill. You can already see the power is completely out, so I'm going to come in here. For this project, I'm actually going to shoot this project on MDF. So let's assign that. Beautiful. That's assigned. We're going to move forward. I'm going to put the 2022 on the same layer simply because I know that this process is going to happen at the same time. So we'll do that. The laser hemisphere, believe it or not, I'm going to put that on a completely separate layer, and that's because it's a different text, and I may want to do a version of this where I remove the southern hemisphere dates. I may want to just make this by itself. I might want to turn that output off completely. I may want to have it created exactly like that. So again, this gives me a lot of latitude to be able to go and turn on different elements. And when I want to go and repeat a process in the laser, I can actually do that quite easily by going straight back into Lightburn. So in this case, that's also a fill. So we're going to go and assign that layer as well. And I'm going to change the names here. So hemisphere. Right, there we go. So I know that that's the hemisphere text, and this is going to be my title. So I'm going to say title and date. And I'm actually going to change this one and call this the outer box layer. Excellent. So again, I can see quite easily what it is that I'm actually working with here. And in this case, I'm going to actually just change the order up here. So if I go and preview that right now, and I actually scroll through it, you can actually see what's going to come up first. So we've got the laser livestream logo first, then the actual date, then all the circles coming up, and then the title. Then I have the outer, and then I'm cutting that whole piece out. Again, I'm looking at this. This may not be the best way to do it to save time with the laser, especially if you're using a diode laser. You might have to do multiple passes. But at this point, I can send this project to my Emblazer and actually be able to fine-tune those power settings so that everything cuts beautifully at the same time. So that's looking good, actually. It's all running at the same time, except for the cut layer, which is where we're looking at it. And the image is looking good too. I just want to double check that, make sure that image is the one that I want to work on. Let's go OK here. Let's go image. We're going to assign that to layer. Yep. Okay. It's looking good. At this point, if I were to send the project to the laser and something didn't cut out, let's say I'm running the project and the laser livestream logo is too light. It doesn't work for me. What I can actually do is once the whole process is finished, I can actually come in here and I can start turning off outputs. So I can turn off the cut line because I don't want to cut again. The outer box doesn't need to be in there. We don't need the hemisphere. We don't need title. We don't need the date circles, and we don't need the image. And unfortunately, these two are joined. So this is where I'm actually going to select this part, and I'm actually going to put it onto a separate layer. Just looking at what's available. There we go. We're going to call this one live stream logo. And I'm going to move that all the way up there. And in here, I'm actually going to call this, this is the calendar. And this is totally up to you on how you want to lay this out. This is just the way I do it, because once I've got a catalog of pieces that I want to use, I can go straight back into Lightburn and grab those pieces without having to actually redesign them and separate. Lightburn allows you so many, I believe it's 99 layers. I think so, I'm guessing on that one. But I would assume that it's 99 layers that you should be able to create within the program. So why not allow everything to have its own place? So let's go turn off that other image. We come back here. I now am only going to work on that laser live stream, and I could actually go in here. If it was incredibly light, I could start increasing the passes or slowing down the speed. So I could be up here and I could go 500. Let's see if that works. So we had one at 2000, we had one at 1500, or As I was saying before, if you want it really dark, you could just do another pass. It depends on what the result is. And once I actually have those settings dialed in perfectly, then I can go and just run multiples of that job as many times as I want. I find having different things on different outputs incredibly helpful. The other thing is that sometimes you will get material that won't cut all the way through. I'm using MDF. I'm using MDF from a place called Bunnings that happens to be like the Home Depot of Australia. And all materials are not made the same way equally every single time. So it could be that this piece of MDF that I have might have had a little bit of fibers where it was being compressed, or maybe a little bit more glue. It wasn't as even when they were creating it. So I may need to go and on a sheet of MDF, I might have 7 of these and 1 or 2 of them don't cut all the way through. Because I have just that cut layer on there, I can come back in, run that cut layer again, but I don't have to leave it at 2000. At 200. I may want to go in here and just say, you know what? It just needs a little bit more. It just needs a little pass. Maybe it needs it at 400 as opposed to 200 just to get through that cleanly. I can do that. I can set that up and I can run the job again. As long as I don't move the material, absolutely no problem there. This is the way that I like to do it. I find that putting that little bit of effort in here to be able to put all your elements on different layers speeds up not only your processing time on your laser, but also allows you to go and grab this layer. You've got all the settings, bring it into another project or manipulate the project as you want without having to go in and get lost, especially if you're in a hurry. I find that when you're working on a deadline, it could be really hard to be able to come back, work out exactly what's going on. So that's the first part of the project that I wanted to show you. That all comes in when you actually design your project up. Take those few moments, and I used to do this quite often before Lightburn brought in the next feature that I'm going to show you, and that happens to be in the preview window. Let me do this a different way. I'm going to save this as a different project. We're going to call this multi-layer, and I'm actually going to bring this project in as we had it before. So here we go. We've only got 4 layers, and again, this is a very legitimate way. A lot of people spoke to Jason and the team at Lightburn and said, you know what, there should be a way to be able to restart a project without having to go through the whole process. So in this case, I'm going to use the same example. We've got a piece of material there, and it comes to cutting out the final calendars, and it doesn't go all the way through the material. So what you can actually do is, we come in here, we can use this process. We go all the way to where that, so you can see that outer layer just began. We can go to this command here that says start here. And you can start the job and send it from the laser from that point in the job. So you may want to be, you might have it as long as you haven't touched the material in the machine. You may want to go and start that job from there. If you press that start job on laser from here, the process will start exactly where that is. And if we hit the play, you'll see that it'll start, well, it was just before, but it will start cutting out that final piece. So you've got to kind of dial it in perfectly. If you're in a jam, that's a perfect way to be able to do that. And you can scroll through your project wherever you want it to be. So you could even, in this case with the laser live stream, you could wind it all the way back to the start, just start it from there, run the project, and of course stop the project once you've got the result you want. It's a fly by the seat of the pants option, and I have no problem with using it, but you've got to be fast enough to catch it at the end. And you can see here, I've got the calendar here starting to come out because I didn't catch it fast enough. With the G-code machine that I have, when I stop the machine, it does take a bit of time because the G-code is streaming from my computer to the laser. So I usually have to disarm the laser at the point that I want, but there's very little control. If you're doing multiple jobs, this may not be the answer that you want. Again, I wanted to show you this. This is a great tool. Could come up to the point where you can see here, there's the laser hemisphere. Where did the laser hemisphere, hang on a second, let me play that. The laser hemisphere came up, was that halfway through? Yeah, in this case, yeah, look at that. If you wanted to redo your the southern hemisphere, not the laser hemisphere, excuse me, the laser hemisphere, sorry, the southern hemisphere, what am I talking about? You can see now that it's actually part of that outside layer. So you would, if you wanted to wind it back, you would be getting this area and this area done as well, instead of having it separate and being able to go back and just re-engrave or refill that area to make it darker, playing with those settings, getting them dialed in and being able to use them. So that's the trick and tip that I want to show you guys today. Laying out your projects is a fantastic way to be able to go and create your projects. I wanted to show you something really quickly because I'm sure some of you are going, why does it say Southern Hemisphere there? Well, I'm in Australia. So what I ended up doing was I actually made a template cutout for everyone in the US. This is the Northern Hemisphere. You take this piece, you place it over the top here, and it actually shows you the date that the live streams are going to be exactly when you need them. So in this case, I haven't separated them either. So we actually play this, you can actually see that it's going to do it all together, but I would actually separate them all into individual layers. If something doesn't work out, I can go back and make the Northern Hemisphere templates that fit over the top of the calendar. Again, something creative that I was doing. If you're interested in that sort of project, let me know in the description below, and I'm more than happy to go through my thought pattern and how I actually laid this all out in Lightburn. Let us know if that helps with being able to recover some of your projects. A little bit of work when you're laying it out will actually save you a lot of time and effort when you are actually at the laser, and I believe will actually make your workflow a lot more concise and effective. Alright, now you can set up your project so that you can have the most flexibility in Lightburn and can get the results you're after without wasting time and material getting the right settings. Let me know how you go with this process, as well as any areas within Lightburn you might want to learn about. Now I'm off to go laser up some of those 2022 laser livestream calendars, so while I do that, feel free to check out these videos right here, then go and make something amazing. I'll see you real soon.